Hey everyone, Mike Extra Cheese here. You've got my channel. If you've never watched the channel before, if you've never seen one single episode, watch this one. This is my testimony. This is the episode where I'm going to tell you who I used to be, what I became, and who I am now. Please watch this episode. It could be life-changing for you. I know I like to kid around a lot, but this is going to be a serious episode. Let's get into it. Now, I was wondering how I was going to be able to bring this to you, and I said, I'm just going to go out for a walk. I'm going to walk it and talk it, see what we see along the way, and I'm going to share this with you. I'm not going to have this camera on me all the time. I'm going to pan around, see what's going on. Thought I'd put the shades on today just because it's very sunny outside. It's a beautiful day. It's close to 80 degrees. Perfect weather, actually, to share this with you. So, let me just give you a little bit of content. I'm 57 years old, and I have been sober for about, I think, 27 years now. I think I've kind of lost track. I'm going to go kind of back into and try and watch out for pitfalls and pratfalls along the way. Talk about a long and winding road, huh? Maybe some of you have that. Maybe you're in it right now. You've had a long and winding road. You've been battling substance abuse. You've been battling drug abuse. You've been battling alcohol abuse, and I did too. I started using early on. I was in my teens when I started using alcohol, really, and smoking pot, just to be quite honest with you, from what I remember, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every drink I had for a little bit. I enjoyed every puff I had for a little bit, and then I didn't. It started to turn against me. Now, when I grew up, I was born in '69, so I guess you could say the 70s and the 80s. My teenage years were really, really rebellious years. I grew the long hair thing, as you can see in the intro to my video. That was me in my long hair days, which, I was 35 years old. 35 when I finally got it all cut. Ooh, we're going to have some problems with wind. Let's get into the wind. Let's get into the woods, and maybe that'll shelter a little bit of it. See how nice it is out here. Wow, it's just perfect. Anyway, yeah, here I am. So, being in high school, that was one of the things you did. I probably had my first drink around 8 years old. It was one of those things where maybe there were some beer bottles left out around, so I would pick those beer bottles up and just take a swig of that pale brown ale that was left in the bottom of the bottle. And, whenever there was something lying around, that's when I decided, heck it, I'm just going to pick it up, take a swig of it. I don't think I really did it for any particular effect. I just think I did it to do it. And as I got older, there was more intent behind it. By the time I was 15 years old or so, yes, drinking and smoking weed was more of a normal thing. And how does somebody that age get that stuff? Well, you'd be surprised at how resilient you can be when you're a kid. Some of you already know this because you've done it. That was my thing. I think about this going back now because I really haven't thought about this in quite some time, to be honest with you. But I can remember in high school, there would always be somebody that would have the herbal jazz cigarette, so to speak. So you take a puff here, you take a puff there. You're not really knowing what you're doing. Before you know it, you're doing it with intent. You're doing it because you like to do it. And I'm trying to think back now to how you think when you're 15 years old. And quite frankly, I'm glad you're not thinking when you're 15 years old. You're not thinking at all. You're just doing. And that got me in a lot of trouble. You think back now, of course, having kids of my own and having raised them and gone through all the things that the kids are going to put you through, I think about what I put my parents through. And I tell you, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this, I can't tell you how much thank you for hanging in there with me. You're probably saying, yeah, well, what else could we do? But I drove my parents nuts. And not just in my teenage years, but into my early 20s, which was, I think I want to touch a little bit more on my adult years or my early adult years, because the things you do as a kid, some kids, they grow out of it. They don't do that all the time. They stop, they're experimenting. Well, I brought that into my 20s, and I want to talk to you about that because that's really the time that I struggled the most. So let me give you a little content. I have been married and divorced 3 times. I met my first wife when I was 18 years old. She was 15. We got married, had 3 kids. There was adultery in my life, both on my first and second wives. I had a child with my second wife. My children know this, by the way. This is not like this is a secret in my life. So, but the thing I'm trying to say is well, I have a lot to say, to be quite honest. When you are living that kind of a lifestyle, there's no joy in it. It's destructive. And as I was able to reflect back, that's not only hurting those people, it's hurting your friends, it's hurting your family. It's not a good thing, right? We've all gone through, I'm going to tell you a funny thing, being in recovery not funny, but funny, weird thing, being in recovery for as long as I have. I've gone to a ministry called Celebrate Recovery for quite some time now. And one thing you find out is how many people have been married and divorced. I'm right up there with the average with 3 times. Married and divorced 3 times because I married my ex-wife 2 times. I divorced her, my second divorced wife number 2, remarried her, got divorced again. There was a time I just was not capable of making a sane decision. I couldn't. I don't think it was possible for me to make a rational choice. I sure wasn't making them. In my 20s, my early 20s, I think I would drink every day. I would drug every day. I'm going to keep the list of things that I tried down to a minimum because, quite frankly, that was a long time ago. I realize I will have family members watching this. They don't need to have a text of everything that I did, and you really don't either. We do what we do. I did what I did, and I paid the price for it. But the thing is, a lot of other people pay that price too. Everything's really grown over. This is one of those areas in a video I did before, my pre-testimony video where I was showing things weren't grown over. I just about tripped. Well, things are pretty grown over now. Things are pretty grown over now. It's nice in here. It's a good day to be out for a walk. Get the camera off of me a little bit, maybe. Oh, there goes a bird. There goes a bird. I was a very depressed person in my 20s. In fact, I was actually diagnosed with having had bipolar, manic depression, whatever you want to call it. There was probably a period of a good 8 years where I took medication for it. And I'm going to tell you now, there's not a doctor in the world that wouldn't have diagnosed me with something like that. The way I acted, the way I lived my life, it certainly fell right in line with somebody who was manic depressive, just depressed all the time. So, big ups and big downs, and just no in between balance of life. And I will say that in my 20s, I was able to maintain a period of sobriety for about 8 years. But I think by the time I turned 29, 30 years old, life got nuts again, and I decided I was going to start using again. I had a relapse, and so my sobriety date today dates from that particular time in my life. So you have to go back, I think it was in 1999, September 4th of 1999, that I had my last drink. So that's how long it's been for me. But you have to understand, not taking a drink, not taking a drug is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but the lifestyle I was living still was not conducive to somebody who had really found true sobriety. Now, I was also a very angry person. I used to joke, and it's no laughing matter, but I used to joke that I could probably have built a house with everything that I had physically destroyed. And by that I mean, the destructive anger, the destructive rage, punching holes in walls, kicking doors, and I don't need to go too much into detail. Maybe some of you have been there, y'all get an idea of what I'm talking about. Very unhealthy. Just not a good way to live. I had such anger in me, such strife. I got to a point again through another divorce. This would have been, I don't know, the second-third time that I got to a point of such severe depression. I'm just going to tell you this. The medication I was taking, took a big handful of it and decided that I was going to put it all in my mouth, take a big swig of water, and that was it. Well, my wife today, who was not my wife at the time, she just looked at me and she goes, "Don't." I found out later, because I checked myself into a hospital, that had I done that, I would not be here right now telling you this story. You can just see, I don't know if you can see it, those are mosquitoes, and I just started thinking to myself, wow, did I maybe pick a bad time to come running through here? Oh man, I mean, they're here by the dozens. They're out in swarms. I'm going to keep moving. Because I'm going to have, thought I put the shades back on my head so you can see my eyes. Hate that when I'm talking to somebody I can't see what their eyes are doing. There's no sunshine in here to really have to worry about. And it's a little dark with those sunglasses on. And speaking, I don't want to live in the darkness anymore. I want to live in the light. So let me kind of backtrack, because I don't know really where I'm at in this, but I found myself in a hospital, and at some point, and it took a little bit of time, at some point, I decided that this wasn't the way to live anymore. Now, I'd grown up as a Catholic, being the good Sicilian, so I understood who God was, or who God is, understood who Jesus is, but I did certainly not follow that lifestyle. I did not follow that path. I was certainly aware. I knew where my salvation was, and I knew that Jesus died for me on the cross. I knew that he rose from the grave, having conquered death, and I knew that because of that belief that I was saved. And I believe that still today, but I did not live that lifestyle. I lived a lifestyle according to Mike. I did not live a lifestyle according to Jesus. I just did whatever I wanted to do. Consequences be damned, and whoever suffered for it, I had no care or concern about that whatsoever. I didn't see that my kids suffered for it. I didn't see that my mom and dad suffered for it. I knew I was suffering for it, but I was going after flesh-based things. I was going after life things. And, that was the way I lived my life. Drugs and alcohol, that was just all part of it. So I made a decision at some point in all that chaos back in 2004 that I wasn't going to live that way anymore. I was going to turn my will and my life over to the care and the control of Jesus Christ. And that's what I did at some point. And I'm going to give you an exact date, because my wife and I have been married almost 21 years now. And not only is our marriage, our anniversary, our marriage date, before we got married, before we went down to that courthouse, we prayed in our living room. We asked God for forgiveness, because obviously we had hurt a lot of people, both in our independent lives and through an adulterous occasion that even brought us together. That is, and it is part of our testimony that we share with others. We prayed. We asked Jesus to become the center of our marriage, the center of our lives, and to redeem us. We understood that if we were going to not only survive as individuals, but as a married couple, Jesus, you have to play a supreme role in our lives, and that's what happened. And I can tell you, almost immediately, I'm going to turn this around. Uh-oh, don't tell me that's a leaf blower. At least it's not a garbage truck. You hear that? You hear that? I think I'm coming up oh my gosh, I shouldn't be doing this. I've interrupted the flow of what I was trying to tell you. Sorry, Lord. I think I'm coming up to the area where I thought I saw Adam's shades hanging from a tree. You know what I'm talking about? If you've never watched Adam the Woo's channel, I think this was the area I'm coming up on it. But every time Adam would be talking about something, there'd be a leaf blower. I don't care where that guy was. He could be in a cave, and I've seen it. I said, Adam's out here in the caves, and a leaf blower started to go. How the heck do you find a leaf blower in a rocky area like that? I don't know, but there it was. He was shocked. I thought it was staged, but no, that was honest to goodness. It really happened. Okay, I'm not going to edit this out. I'm not. This is all real. This is a real channel for real people, right? After I turned my will and my life over to the care and control of Jesus, my life started to turn around for the better. The people I have met along the way and what has happened to me is nothing short of a miracle. In fact, it is a miracle. Let me see. Oh, this is where I'm supposed to say, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Well, we're going to go this way because I know this way works. I know it works. Anyway, I said a prayer back then. I said, Lord, I don't know what it is you want me to do now that my life is dedicated to you. But whatever you want me to do, go ahead and let me know, and I'll do it. Almost immediately, I think within 24 hours, a friend of mine calls me up and says, Mike, we need a worship leader. We need somebody to sing music for us at the ministry. I had no idea what a worship leader was. I said, well, okay. So I got my guitar, one guitar, and went to this ministry called Celebrate Recovery. And before I knew it, I was a worship leader. Now, it didn't happen that easily, but it did happen that easily. There's a lot of stuff involved with it as far as how to grow a ministry, how to network with people, and I'm still doing that today. You know, I've done the secular thing, and it's not that rewarding. But when you get into a Celebrate Recovery ministry, and you got all these people singing praises with you at the top of their voices, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in the world. That is the best. That is just the best. You cannot experience that unless you get yourself maybe to a Celebrate Recovery gathering some Friday night or wherever it is in your area, and start singing. Oh man, it's great. You know what? I met a really good friend of mine. I'm going to give him a shout out, but Paul, if you're watching, you're an awesome bass player, man. Well, you're one of the coolest bass players. I've had a lot of bass players, but man, you like to hit all those notes. And I tell you what, that song, Salvation Is Here, that was a lot of fun to play with you. I remember that. Scrap and Pallet, man, I'm giving you a shout out. My friend Paul, you're awesome. Been praying for you. Do the same for me. So, I'll try and get back on track here. I almost tripped over that. That would not have been fun. That would not have been fun. In fact, that would have hurt like heck. Whew. So, get back on track. What I'm trying to say. There's power in the name of Jesus. There's power in the name of Jesus. I have been healed. And it doesn't mean that I don't have struggles. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I'm throwing my hands up and saying, why me? Getting on that pity pot. I'm going through things right now that are job related. That is the darndest thing that I've ever gone through. I would not have thought that I would have to go through this at this point in my life, but I am. And it is causing me to turn more into Him than I ever had before. You're knocking. Listen. Something going on. That was weird. Here's stuff over there. I don't know. Anyway, it is causing me, as a result, I'm turning into Him more than I ever have. And I'm talking Jesus. Things can get tough. It doesn't matter how long you've been sober, what road you've been traveling, how good you think things are. There's going to be a time of trial. There's going to be a time of testing. That period's going to happen, like it's happening for me right now. But I know God is faithful, and I know I will get through this. Talk about something that was meant to be this entire time that I was out here. You know, not one passerby. Oop, there I am. Not one passerby or anything. I must pick the right time to come out here. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, and how I was going to do it, and what I was going to say, and you know, it's just something you do. Sometimes you can over prepare for stuff, and really, you know, I get it. It's all structured and everything. But if I'm having this conversation with you, if maybe we're on this path and we struck up a conversation, I'm telling it to you just how I told it to you. You know, I don't remember whole lots of details, and you know, that's part of the healing. That's part of the healing. That's part of the forgiveness part, okay? I had to forgive people, and that's when I healed. When I forgave people, I healed. Let me say that again. When I forgave people, when all was forgiven for anything that I thought they did against me, I was healed. There's the solution. When you come to Christ, you understand that you have to forgive. Forgiving doesn't mean that the other person has to know it. They don't have to know it. Forgiving is for you. It's for you. It's to ease your heart, to ease your burden. Are you hearing me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Forgiving is for you. Let's go look down here real quick. You have got to forgive people. You're holding on to that hurt. You're holding on to that habit. You're holding on to that hang-up. And man, it's suffocating. You can't even breathe with it. You got to let it go. You have to. And once you do that, you're going to heal. That's when you heal. That's when the healing begins, is when you let it go and don't take it back again. Because once it's gone, you see that? Once it's gone, it's gone. And once it's done, it's done. Oh, but you don't know what they did to me. No, I don't know what they did to you. You don't know what was done to me. Okay? I don't get into that no more because I forgave. I forgave. You don't need to know all the details anymore. I used to think I had to tell everybody every little detail, like I was looking for sympathy or something, you know, or empathy or something. I don't know. I thought that's where my healing was going to come from, by giving you all this graphic detail and descriptions of stuff I had done or stuff that had been done to me. But I forgave. And once I forgave, He came in, and here He dwells. He and I are one. I am in Him and He is in me, or we are in the Father, and that is His words. That is His words. I'm telling you, let it go. Forgive. Jesus says, if you can't forgive others, then the Father also will not forgive you. Think about that. That is huge. That is huge. If you don't forgive others, He will not forgive you. I don't know about you, but I want to forgive others because I know I need forgiveness. I need forgiveness still today. I still make mistakes today. I still let out the occasional F-bomb. I don't like that about myself. I have to change that. I get frustrated. I get irritated. I don't do it in public. I do it at home, you know, or I do it up in here. I still do that. It still happens to me today, and I have got to work on that. I don't want that in my life anymore. I don't want to give the enemy room. The enemy being the devil, the enemy being Satan. I do not want to give him any room in my life. So that's what you have to do. You've got to forgive other people. You forgive other people, and you will be set free. Amen? Okay, so I've gone on long enough. I've wanted to do this video for a long time. I've done this video. I'm posting this video almost entirely the way I just spoke it. And we got a whole lot of other stuff coming on now that this one's done and out of the way. The channel's going back to the content that I designed it to be, which is just it's a regular channel for regular people, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. One day I just kind of woke up and God said, Mike, do a YouTube channel. Okay, all right. So I started a YouTube channel, and we'll see where it goes. And you know, I don't care if I get 10 subscribers. I got more than 10 subscribers, or if I end up with 10,000 subscribers, whatever. You know, the fact is, it's out there. The content's out there. And it's growing, and it takes a long time to grow these things, okay? Right? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes endurance. It takes a love for the craft you're creating. And I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. I want to tell you something that I used to hear, because I used to go to AA meetings. And AA is great. If you're going to it, don't stop. Don't stop. I found Celebrate Recovery. I found another outlet. I found Jesus, okay? There used to be a guy that used to come in there. I never really understood why I used to say this, but I'm going to say it to you. If you haven't been told today that you're loved, I love you. And so I'm just going to end this video. I thought I was going to end it with the song, but I'm going to end it with this. If you have not been told, I'm going to put these down squinting. If you have not been told today that someone loves and cares about you, I do. I do, because this life is too short. It can be filled with too much pain and turmoil. But I'm telling you, not only do I, but Jesus does. He loves you. Remember that. Somebody loves you. You are worth it. Whatever you're thinking of doing, You don't have to do it. Get the help you need and deserve. You're worth it. You're a good person. There ain't nothing wrong with you. You're in the same boat as so many other people. You're not alone. Alright, I've talked long enough. Let's go back to the path. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking into the channel. If you've watched this all the way, give yourself a pat on the back if you watched it to the end, because it's a hard thing to do. I don't care what the content is. It's a hard thing to listen to somebody talk. I hope I made a connection with you, but that was not me. That's God speaking through me. Alright. Hope to see you in the next video. This one is